Set up here. We're going to go right into it. We're not wasting a bunch of time. That's what's up today. We're going to take a look at the kind of check in with the Karen Reed trial. That's what we're doing. Hey, welcome in, Lisa. Where's everyone at? Come on, guys. You obsessed with fucking Delphi? You can't handle anything else other than fucking Delphi obsession? Where's the other 100 folks right now? Get your head out of your ass. The world's more than Delphi, so... Anyhow, those of you who are here, thanks for being level-headed and for being here. And right now, all we got is old Lisa in the house. So we're going to say hello to Lisa. Everyone else join the chat. Oh, I know what it is. I made it members only. So you got to be a member to chat. So if you're not, become a member. Hit like and subscribe. You know all the good stuff. Do all the good stuff if you don't mind. We're going to do a little looking at the Karen Reed trial. I'm going to check in, and man, I tell you what, it was a doozy today. This thing is literally falling apart in front of our eyes. It's the most amazing thing to see, and you'll see why momentarily. I mean, you know how with Delphi we've poked a million holes in everything for 7 years? Well, this is what's happening with this case. I mean, in every single piece of evidence, every single witness, every single statement from the prosecution, I mean, there's just a million holes being poked into this. And hey, I think it's important. So without further ado, what's up, Fur Baby Daddy? Fur Baby Daddy says, I'm getting into this one. Without further ado, let's get started because I don't want to be here all night with this. But we are only going to look at cross-examination of this individual state trooper. And well, there's a lot of bad ones. There's a lot of bad ones in this trial, but you'll see this today. It was important. So let's get into it. You'll see why. And hey, if you're just watching, at least please hit like and check out our support pathways on the About Me section, whatsoever, and what's so on and so forth. You know what I mean? We got all the support pathways. Hit the like and join the chat and all that stuff. So, what's up, Nancy Drew? Nancy Drew's coming in the house. Hey, Nancy. Hi, Prof. Lisa and Fur Baby Daddy. All right. So let's get into it without wasting much time, and we'll make it a short one today. Okay. So let's put him up here and see if we can get him talking.
Okay. Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so we're starting the cross of Trooper Bullshit Bukhenik.
Sergeant Bukhenik, I want to start with one of the latter things that you discussed with Mr. Lally. That's specific to the ring video that y'all talked about this morning. Do you have that in mind?
I do.
The search warrant that produced, and just so we're clear, I'm talking about the specific ring video or series of videos that were associated with One Meadows, John O'Keefe's home.
Okay.
Okay. You didn't write the search warrant for those ring videos, did you?
I did not.
You were not the affiant for those search warrants.
I was not.
Who was the author of the search warrant and the affiant?
It was Trooper Mike Proctor.
Who received the actual ring video or videos from the Ring Corporation?
It was Trooper Mike Proctor received it.
And who ultimately either logged those into evidence or controlled those once they were received from the Ring Corporation?
I believe it was Trooper Mike Proctor.
And ultimately, Sergeant Bukhenik, you did note that in addition to just the physical videos themselves, that login information and login keystrokes, et cetera, were requested from the Ring Corporation as well, correct?
There was discussion with Ring asking for those logs.
I'll call it, is it correct to say an activity log?
That's what was requested, yes, activity log, yes.
So ultimately, the activity log would show who logs in, who accesses the data, things of that nature, correct? Or at least that was the hope.
That is what was requested.
All right. It would also show logging in and executing deletions, manipulating the log files, things of that nature, correct?
That is what was requested, yes.
When you reviewed those log or activity logs, there was no evidence revealed that my client ever logged into that account, correct?
There was no activity logs provided by Ring.
So you have zero, hang on.
Come on, we're getting into a slow start here. It's a slow start. Everyone drink their coffee. Let's go. Let's go, guy. Come on.
Isn't it true that Ring contacted Trooper Proctor and indicated that they had created a Dropbox folder that contained the evidence that had been sought in the search warrant?
Objection.
Sustained.
Isn't it true that the search warrant return specified account information, video recordings, and number 3, activity logs associated with video recordings for all times displayed in UTC.
I'm not aware of that, no.
Do you recall that activity logs were in fact provided from the Ring Corporation?
I do not recall that, no.
Okay. May I approach briefly?
Yes.
Take a look, Sergeant, at that paragraph, which my finger's on. It's about the 3rd paragraph down, the middle of the page, and review that to yourself and let me know when you're finished.
Tell you what, I think everyone in this courtroom needs some coffee. I don't know about you. Damn. What's up, ACV?
Have you had an opportunity to review that?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's an interesting case. Interesting case here. Looks like we got some corruption in
Does
law
this reflect your
enforcement.
recollection as to the items
Looks like we have a
received from the Ring Corporation?
conspiracy.
That is the first time I saw that document, so it does not refresh my recollection. I simply read it.
So do you have a recollection as you sit here that in fact during the course of your investigation, the 3 items that you received from the Ring Corporation were the account information, the video recordings, and quote, activity logs associated with the video recordings, all times displayed in UTC?
To the extent of its availability, as it says in that document.
Okay. The long and short of it is, during the entire course of your investigation, you never revealed that investigation never revealed any evidence whatsoever that my client ever even accessed the account information for the Ring account associated with this search warrant, correct?
Nothing provided by Ring proved or suggested or proved any evidence of that type of activity, no.
Thank you. Trooper Proctor, you were notified.
I am not Trooper Proctor.
I'm sorry. No, you're not.
That was funny. That was actually funny. This is Trooper Bullshit Bukhenik. Not Trooper Proctor, but Trooper Proctor is also, let's see, let's come up with a name for him. Trooper Michael Proctologist Proctor. I mean, he's the guy at the center of this setup. He's a guy at the center of the I don't know, setup on this woman. I mean, it's amazing to see. I really do believe that we're looking at a system-wide or a large conspiracy directed against this woman to protect the brothers in blue. What's up, Four Pits? All right, let me let it keep going. What's up, Four Pits?
Sergeant Bukhenik.
Sergeant Bukhenik.
How do I say it?
Bukhenik.
Bullshit Bukhenik.
Yeah, it's fine.
Bukhenik?
Yes,
Is that better?
that's better. Thank you.
If I screw it up again, please. On January 29th, you were notified about a Boston police officer found gravely injured outside the home of 34 Fairview at about 6:40 in the morning. Was that your testimony?
That is not.
What time were you notified?
I was not notified it was a Boston police officer.
So you didn't have that information upon the first notification?
I did not.
Okay, what information did you have?
There was a male party in the snowbank, possibly of a heart attack.
At what point did you learn that the individual was, in fact, a sworn Boston police officer?
I do not know exactly when I learned that he was a Boston police officer.
I think it was during that day or the following day?
It was most likely that day, either, yeah.
Fair enough. Trooper Proctor was ultimately assigned as the, what did you call him? Not lead investigator, but case officer?
That's correct.
He was assigned on the 29th, correct?
He was on call from 7 a.m. on January 28th until 7 a.m. on January 29th.
So his assignment was, he was assigned on the 29th because he was on call.
He was on call. His assignment took effect when the schedule came out back in mid-December.
Okay. Well, he wouldn't be assigned to this investigation until there was a need for the investigation, right? And that's all I'm getting to. I mean, once the call came in, he was the assigned case agent.
Once the calls come in, the person that's on call is automatically assigned that case.
All right. Did you personally, as his supervisor, did you personally respond to 34 Fairview at any point on January 29th?
No, I did not.
Did Trooper Proctor, at your direction or on his own, ever respond to 34 Fairview Road at any time on January 29th?
No, he did not.
Based on your initial investigation, and I'm talking about going way back, Sergeant, on your initial investigation, by 10 or 10:30 in the morning, 10:40 in the morning, it was your belief that Mr. O'Keefe had been struck in the face by a person. That was your initial understanding of the circumstances surrounding the investigation, correct?
All right, guys, I'm going to shut up now and let you listen, but this is where you start to really pay attention because, man, let me tell you, it's going to all be laid out here. It's all going to be laid out here, and the whole state's theory, boom. Okay, this guy was beat up. Okay, he was beat up, or his ass was kicked. He was bit by a dog, and then he was left out in the cold to die. And you're going to see it come together here. So let me shut up again. And yeah.
My initial understanding was that the defendant stated that she hit him. We did not know the...
Sergeant, you hadn't even met my client at that point. You hadn't interviewed a single witness by 10:41 in the morning, correct? Not one witness.
That's not correct. We had already interviewed the first responders.
Okay, when I say witness, I'm talking about civilian witnesses. So at 10:41, you hadn't interviewed a person at 34 Fairview or associated civilians associated with this incident, correct?
At that point, no civilians have been interviewed, no.
But at 10:41, Sergeant, you contacted Good Samaritan Hospital to inform them that, quote, Mr. O'Keefe was struck in the face with a cocktail glass, end quote, correct?
I do not recall contacting Good Samaritan Hospital.
May I approach?
Yes.
I'd like
Like-
to,
Like literally, I don't know how this trial can continue. I don't even know how they can
If you wouldn't
continue to
mind.
prosecute this. But
pay special attention to the second page, the bottom paragraph where it's tabbed in pink.
But remember, according to some, this never happens. This never happens. Law enforcement is never corrupt. There's never a conspiracy. Never, ever does it happen that people are set up, that evidence is planted, that people are targeted. Never happens. Just remember. Never, ever, ever. It's never happened in the entire history of the United States of America. This is the best system of justice in the world. Never happens. Impossible. Not going to happen. No such thing as corruption in the court system or prosecutors or in police. Just doesn't exist. Never happens. There's no such thing as conspiracy. You're all conspiracy theorists. Oh yeah, they check receipts often in this trial. This trial right here, I mean, the witnesses for the state are the most receipt-checking son of a bitches you've ever seen. Pardon me.
Yes.
Prosecutor gets this far in the trial, can't turn back now, starts getting scapegoats ready for after verdict. Cover your ass, and I did what I could, but Ellie screwed up mode. Hey, sounds familiar, right?
Does this refresh your recollection that you contacted Good Samaritan Hospital and gave them an assessment, at least based on your investigation at that time?
That is not true.
Okay. What did you say to Good Samaritan Hospital?
I never spoke to Good Samaritan Hospital. That document is from the medical examiner's office.
I'm not asking you where the document is from. I'm asking you if the document says Trooper Yuri Bukhenik called back at 10:41 stating the case is now being treated as a suspicion.
The objection sustained.
Did you call back to Good Samaritan Hospital and say that the investigation was being treated as a suspicious due to a domestic situation? Did you say that?
I never spoke to Good Samaritan Hospital.
Did you say that there's a
You see what's happening here? Okay, come on, guys. I mean, first, okay, but before I go on this rabbit trail, good point, ACB. Sounds very familiar to Delphi, doesn't it? Prosecutor gets this far in the trial, can't turn back now, starts getting scapegoats ready for after the verdict. Cover your ass, and I did what I could, but Ellie screwed up mode. Yeah, same with Delphi. Same with Delphi. It's a small town. It's a small town. Mistakes were made. Yes, they made mistakes. Yeah, every fucking thing they did was a mistake. I mean, deleting all the evidence has been deleted. I mean, come on. But, okay, next up, let's see. Has to look at notes like Jim McCabe. Yeah, that's all they're doing. They're cheat sheeters. They're checking the receipts before because it's a conspiracy. It's a cover up. It's a railroading of this woman. But what this guy's doing now, he doesn't want to admit that he said the guy's ass was kicked. Okay, he doesn't want to say this guy's ass was kicked. He wants to go with the state's line, which is she hit him with the vehicle. But watch. Okay.
possibility that D was struck in the face with a cocktail glass?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you ever contact anybody at any medical facility and indicate that the investigation was being treated as a suspicious, in quotation marks, because the victim appeared to have been struck in the face by a cocktail glass?
Objection.
Allow that. Did you ever say that?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, I did say that to the medical examiner's operations desk.
Okay, so when I was asking you if you ever said it to Good Sam, you said, no, that's not.
Okay, so you see what's happening. So he wanted to keep denying it over a technicality. Okay, he wanted to deny over the technicality. And the prosecutor kept objecting over the technicality. Bop, 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 bop. So he had to be backed into a corner where the judge asked him to respond. Did he say the guy was struck with a cocktail glass? And finally, he admits it. Okay.
true, that's never happened. You were correcting me on the fact that it happened at the medical examiner's office, not at Good Sam.
I responded and answered your question honestly, yes.
Okay, so honestly, you did, in fact, at 10:41 a.m., indicate to another professional involved in the investigation that the circumstance was being treated as a physical assault at that point, correct?
I communicated our suspicions to the medical examiner's office.
And that was at 10:41 or thereabouts in the morning, correct?
That's correct.
Your initial investigation during those obviously critical hours, the beginning hours, led you to believe that there was at least a good possibility, you indicated that you made a phone call, that it was a physical altercation that led to John O'Keefe's death, correct?
That's correct, yes.
What steps did you take, sir, in those moments, to determine whether someone in the house at 34 Fairview may have been involved in that physical altercation that you suspected at the time?
As investigations develop, we followed the evidence and statements made. The steps I took was Trooper Proctor and I proceeded to an eyewitness who was also present at the scene when the victim was discovered and interviewed Ms. McCabe.
And prior to that, prior to interviewing Ms. McCabe, by the way, that was at Ms.
Oh my gosh, interview Miss McCabe, the #1 fucking liar in the whole group. Jesus Christ, dude. You're really, come on, you guys. So that means John went into the house. Of course he went into the house. The Apple data shows that he went into the house, ascended 3 flights of stairs to the 3rd floor, back down. I mean, it's all there. It's all there. The only ones saying that it didn't happen that way are Jen McCabe, her fucking husband, and all the people in the house who were there when the guy's ass was kicked to the verge of death.
McCabe's home, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Even though you believe that there may have been a physical altercation, you didn't ask anybody to come down to the station. Is that right? Any of the witnesses?
That's correct.
And you did not seek to actually go to the physical location of 34 Fairview in those next few hours,
That's correct.
or the next few days, correct?
Not myself, no.
Okay. As a matter of fact, Trooper Proctor did not either, did he?
No, he did not.
You didn't secure the interior of the house as a potential crime scene. You certainly know how to do that, right?
That's a cop-out question. Do you want me to answer whether I did it or whether I know how to do it?
Well, I'll ask the question. If you can answer it, please answer it.
Okay.
Can you answer that question?
I can answer that question.
Why don't you answer both of them then?
First portion is we did not secure the home as a crime scene. And the second portion, yes, I do know how to do that.
And you didn't, as a Massachusetts State Police official, you didn't secure the outside as a crime scene either, did you?
I did not know.
To your knowledge, nobody else from Massachusetts State Police ever did either, did they?
Yes, they did.
How was that
Sounds familiar? Sounds familiar?
done and when?
When members of our office and the CERT team responded to that location and secured the front yard grass area and processed it.
That was at 5:45, 6 o'clock that night on the 29th?
I believe it was earlier, but I was not present, so I can't testify to the time.
So you don't know personally what they did to quote unquote secure or not secure the crime scene. You know they searched it, but in terms of securing it as a crime scene, you don't have personal knowledge to that.
I was not present.
Okay. You never took any photos of the interior of the house, correct?
I did not know.
You never caused CSSS to go inside the house and process that house as a potential crime scene, correct?
I did not, no.
No forensic criminalist at your direction ever went into 34 Fairview?
No, they did not.
And the people that you interviewed on January 29th, you already mentioned Ms. McCabe, The other people were her husband, Matt McCabe, correct?
That's correct.
And her brother-in-law, Brian Albert. Is that right?
That is correct.
And all three of them were interviewed where?
All of the fucking liars who are trying to cover up the murder of Mr. John O'Keefe. Yeah, that's exactly who he talked to. All of the witnesses. Does it sound familiar? All of the witnesses who are covering up the murder. Sounds familiar?
They were interviewed at the McCabe residence.
Now, yesterday when you testified, did you indicate that Brian Albert was not present in the home when you interviewed Matt McCabe and Jennifer McCabe?
He was not present in the dining room when we were interviewing each individual separately.
So if all three of them testified that he arrived before you arrived, they would all be wrong.
I did not see him in the home when we arrived, no.
I want to switch gears real quick to a couple of the physical items that you testified about yesterday, specifically the gray shirt or the gray hoodie and the orange shirt. You and Trooper Proctor collected both of those items you indicated from the floor of the hospital at Good Samaritan, correct?
That's correct.
You testified that you and Trooper Proctor immediately bagged both of those items. They were sort of sopping wet, I think you said.
That's correct.
You indicated that the bags were so wet that you had to take the items back out of the bags and then lay them out on, I think you said, butcher paper. Is that right?
The items were soaked and wet. They were bagged, double bagged, to prevent leakage of physiological fluids and the moisture coming off of it. And then once they were transported to the office, they were laid out on butcher paper in order to dry naturally.
So you went from Good Samaritan directly to Dighton, correct?
That is correct.
And then you went from Dighton directly to the Canton Police Department, after which you had seized the vehicle, correct? And the phone.
We seized the phone in the vehicle in Dighton and then followed the tow truck straight to the Canton Police Department.
So at some point, if you had received or gathered the wet clothing at Good Sam, went from Good Sam to Dighton Canton PD, at what point that evening did you finally get those items of clothing out and laid out to dry?
It was late that night, around 10 or so.
So where were the items in the meantime?
They were stored in the back passenger compartment of my pickup truck.
In those double bags.
Correct.
Who took control of the items to then lay them out late that night at the office?
I do not recall.
Was that you or Trooper Proctor?
I don't recall. I don't remember.
At some point, obviously, it was getting late. You'd been on duty for a long time that day. You went home at some point, correct?
At some point, yes.
Did you wait for those clothes to dry before you went home, or did you leave that in Trooper Proctor's hands?
No, once they were laid out in the processing area in the office, we went home.
Okay. Who would have controlled those items of evidence when you left?
Funny, ACV. Funny. It's that bad. It's that bad. I think you're being sarcastic, ACV, but and you should be, because yes, this is that bad. This is that bad that he's actually better as a defense witness than as a prosecution witness. I mean, it's that bad. This whole case is that bad. Jeez, Willikers.
They're under lock and key within the secure area of the district attorney's office, so they're secured. Nobody's in physical control watching guard over them.
Who had access to that area?
Troopers in our office.
Meaning you, obviously.
Yes.
Supervisor. Trooper Proctor as well, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Ultimately, given the fact that he was the case officer, sort of in charge, the lead, he would have bagged those items up, been responsible for taking those items, tagging them, getting them stored wherever they needed to be stored and processed, correct?
As a case officer, he could direct other people to perform those tasks for him. The evidence officers in the office log in the evidence, and once it was dried, it was sealed up, bagged, and put into storage. As far as who actually performed those tasks, I do not know.
Well, yesterday, Your Honor, may I approach the courts, right? There's a couple of evidence.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Thank you.
I mean, this case has so many parallels with Delphi, it's unbelievable, including planted evidence, because it sure does seem like the bullet could be planted in the case of Delphi, who knows? But it's certainly questionable, the whole provenance.
This is not a vision contest. I'll bring these up to you in just a second, but just.
What's the same here with Karen Reed and the pieces of the tail light?
They look familiar, yes.
Extremely questionable.
This one has a 437 on it on my right. The one on my left has a 438 on it. May I approach briefly?
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you to open those. Don't worry about gloving up at this point. The bag on your left, which one is that? 437 or 438?
The bag on my left is 437.
437. Okay. And you indicated that those items were bagged after the clothing was dried and then ultimately processed in, logged in, correct?
Once the items dried, they were bagged and logged in, waiting processing, yes.
But you didn't personally do that.
No, I did not, no.
Matter of fact, looking at the bag on your right, what's been marked as Exhibit 430, help me, 438, thank you. That one has some writing on it, correct?
Yes, it has a lot of hand writing on it, yes.
And that, whose handwriting is that?
I don't know.
You've seen Trooper Proctor's handwriting 1,000 times, I'm guessing, correct?
Not 1,000 times, but
Does it look like his writing?
it says Trooper Proctor on it, but other than that, I do not know what Trooper Proctor's handwriting looks like.
All right. It indicates that Trooper Proctor is the one that bagged that item or those items up, correct?
Yes, this bag indicates that the item was collected by Trooper Proctor on 129
Right.
at 10.
And it says Brockton, correct?
Good Samaritan Hospital in Brockton, yes.
That was, you just took the question out of my mouth. That's where Good Samaritan Hospital is, correct?
That's correct.
And there's a tag or a printed label, looks like a label maker of some sort, that is on that physical bag, correct?
Yes.
Before we get to that, what's the description on that bag in handwriting?
I'm sorry, can you be specific as to description of what, or?
Where it says description of items.
Description of enclosed evidence?
Correct.
It says one orange T-shirt, one gray long sleeve shirt.
Okay. So may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
And before I do that, just so I close this loop, what's the description on the bag to your left, the one that looks like it's less wrinkled?
Number 437?
Yes, if you would read the same clothing description.
The description of enclosed evidence states sweatshirt with recovered items inside container.
Okay. May I approach now?
Yes.
Thank you. Yesterday when you opened, keep my voice up. Yesterday when you opened these two bags, this one, 437, has the gray sweatshirt in it. 438 has the orange T-shirt in it now, correct?
That's what was in the bag, yes.
All right. However, the bag indicates at one point, this bag, 438, the physical bag I'm holding in my left hand, had both the sweatshirt and the T-shirt together, correct?
That's what the description is. I do not know if that was in case or in
Now you know why the nervous laughter. It's a fuck up.
fact the case.
The reason you don't know is because you're not the one that bagged them. Trooper Proctor did, correct?
The reason I don't know is I wasn't present during the separation of those items, and I did not observe it taking place, nor was I made aware of how the items were separated or when.
You are aware, however, that tag that's on the label maker looking tag, the white tag that's on that bag indicates that indicates a date of February 4th, correct?
You'd have to bring that back up.
I'm sorry.
I didn't take note of that.
My fault. Mayor, Your Honor?
Yes.
Just direct your attention to the tag and the date associated with that tag.
The label maker tag does have the date February 4th, 2022 on bag number exhibit 438.
May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Yep.
That's obviously 6 days after the item was actually recovered on the 29th, correct?
Yes, it is.
So that indicates, at least based on that tag, that that item was not booked into evidence and processed until 6 days after it was actually recovered on the floor at Good Samaritan Hospital. Is that right?
The date indicates February 4th, 2022.
Right, and that date would be indicative, in your experience, of the date that it's moved into processing by some other folks, the evidence sergeants or whomever, or the evidence officers rather, or whomever, correct?
I can't speak to their procedures as far as when they print the date. That date could be when they printed the label, but the bag might have been tagged otherwise. I do not know that.
But there's no other tag on that bag that suggests an earlier date, correct?
There's just that one tag from.
I mean, look, just like Delphi, it's going to be every single piece of evidence, quote unquote, every single witness statement, quote unquote, every single expert, quote unquote. It's bad. It's bad.
The label maker.
My question to you, if you know, sir, and you may not know, is what was happening to these items between January 29th, after you lost sight of them that night on the butcher paper, and February 4th, when that tag indicates that they were first processed?
To the best of my knowledge, those items were drying on the butcher paper.
For 6 days?
If
That's what the label maker says, yes, for 6
No,
days. They were
no.
soaking wet.
No, bud. No, hold the phone. Hold the phone. First of all, they're in the way. Secondly, in no fucking state in the United States of America is the humidity level so high that it takes 6 days for water-saturated clothing to dry. Even he giggled. See, even he knows that this is bullshit. Let's back that up 5 seconds. Let me try. Okay. All right, let's see.
February 4th, when that tag indicates that they were first processed.
To the best of my knowledge, those items were drying on the butcher paper.
For 6 days?
If that's what the label maker says, yes, for 6 days. They were soaking wet.
And those would have been certainly accessible to and in the possession of the lead case officer in the case, is Trooper Proctor, right?
Yes, if Trooper Proctor needed to review those items, he would have access to those items. Absolutely.
And you're also aware that the first actual log of any chain of custody for those items is March 14th, when they were finally submitted 6 weeks later to the crime lab.
That is not true. The first actual log of those items is when we collected them from the hospital.
Where's the log? I'm talking about a physical log, like a sign in, sign out log. Where's the log?
It's documented in the reports saying that we collected him.
I know that there's a report. Anybody can write a report, right? I could write a report, doesn't mean anything. I'm asking for a log.
Objection.
So the objection sustained.
Obviously, when items move in and out of people's custody in an official capacity for the Massachusetts State Police, there's a log of that, correct?
It's documented, yes.
Or at least it should be, correct?
It's documented.
Where's the log of these items? Before March.
I mean, first of all, what's the standard protocol in terms of a log of chain of custody? Secondly, where the fuck is it?
March 14th.
It's documented in the report.
There is no log, is there, Sergeant?
I do not know.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about some searches that Mr. Lally asked you about, February 4th and February 10th, very specifically. Both of those searches you were involved with out at 34 Fairview, correct?
Correct.
But Sergeant, you didn't personally write a report about your conduct at 34 Fairview on either of those 2 days. In other words, you didn't go back to the station and generate a report yourself.
I don't recall doing that, no.
There were no photos that you took of the items at the location.
I did.
Who else took photos, correct?
I did not take photos of the items. No.
Okay. And the first report that indicates anything that happened or was recovered at the location on either February 4th or February 10th, that was first notated in a report dated November 4th, 2023, year and several months later, correct?
If you say so, I do not know the exact date. That report would have to be presented to me.
May I approach?
Yes.
You don't have to read the whole thing, but if you can skip to the part that talks about the February 4th and February 10th searches.
Oh man, this is like going to the dentist with this guy. We're pulling teeth here.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were finished already.
At least the overall demeanor is
Well,
nice.
Let me ask a foundational question. Does that refresh your recollection as to the date of the report that actually talks about the February 4th and February 10th?
And less nasty than Jin.
It does.
And what's the date of that report, sir?
This report is dated November 4th, 2023.
Thank you. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, as it relates to those 2 searches, I'd like to ask you a little bit about the February 4th search first. You indicated that you actually responded to 34 Fairview personally, correct?
I was responding to that location on my own. I personally responded, yes.
Okay. That was because you had received information that Chief Berkowitz had seen something or found something. Is that right? Chief Berkowitz from Canton PD.
That is not correct, no.
Okay. So when you got there, was Chief Berkowitz there?
Yes, he was.
You just happened to go by 34 Fairview at the exact same time on the exact same date as Chief Berkowitz, or was that coordinated in some way?
There was no coordination between me and Chief Berkowitz. As I testified, I had directed the troopers to go by the location. I planned to go by the location in the morning on the way to the office and in the afternoon on the way home, just to see if any more items would reveal themselves. So that morning, I was actually traveling to that location in order to conduct a view of the area to see if any more evidence had been revealed. Prior to my arrival, approximately while I was on Chapman Street, I received a call indicating that Chief Berkowitz was at the location, yes.
And was there also
Okay, and what we're going to be realizing, if you already don't know this case, is that there's definitely the appearance that evidence was planted in terms of broken taillight pieces. But we'll be learning about that if you already don't know. But geez, it's bad.
an Officer Lank, Sergeant Lank?
I do not know Sergeant Lank was there, no.
Okay. Chief Berkowitz certainly was there,
Yes,
and Chief Berkowitz indicated that as he was driving by, he saw a piece of plastic
yes.
and stopped his car and then started making phone calls.
I believe that's what he indicated to the caller, yes.
Did you question Chief Berkowitz about why he was driving by the location in the first place?
Absolutely not.
Okay, you knew at that point that the Canton Police Department had been recused because of at least an appearance or potential for a conflict of interest, correct?
I knew they recused themselves due to only in respect to interviews. They didn't want to conduct interviews with us side by side.
I mean, if there's a conflict of interest, Sergeant, for a department, conducting the interviews is just one aspect of an investigation, correct?
I'm not going to speak to a conflict of interest, but yes, conducting an interview is just one aspect of the investigation, yes.
So is it your testimony that your understanding was they couldn't conduct interviews, but they could collect evidence, store evidence, write search warrants, get returns on search warrants, execute search warrants, conduct searches? They could do all that but not conduct interviews?
My understanding was they were recusing themselves from conducting interviews. They still allowed us to use their facilities. We utilized their conference room to conduct interviews. There was evidence being stored at their Sally Port, being the vehicle. So that was my understanding.
Isn't it true that you knew that the entirety of the Canton Police Department had recused itself because of a familiarity between one of their members, Kevin Albert, and the Albert family on whose lawn John O'Keefe was found? That was the conflict, correct?
I knew that was the connection between them, yes.
And you understood, sir, that that agency was to have nothing, from an investigative standpoint, nothing to do with this investigation, correct?
They were not conducting the investigation, no.
Matter of fact, Trooper Proctor and you supervising him, y'all were conducting the investigation, right?
Our office was conducting the investigation.
So did you find it unusual or suspicious in any way that the chief of police for the conflicted Canton PD was the person driving by 34 Fairview looking for evidence?
Objection.
Can you answer that question, Sergeant?
He would have to repeat it. There's just so much I can't.
It was a little wordy. I'll try it again. Did you find that suspicious?
Which part? You have to repeat the whole thing.
That Chief Berkowitz from the conflicted Canton PD was at 34 Fairview looking for evidence?
The way you posed the question, I did not find it suspicious at all. He's the chief of the police in the town where he works, and he's driving down the street. I mean, that's not suspicious.
With a conflict of interest on the very case that he's driving by.
Objection.
Sustained.
You certainly knew, as a supervisor over the case officer, that any involvement by Canton Police Department, given the fact that there's a potential conflict, any involvement by them could compromise your otherwise clean investigation. You knew that, right?
Not necessarily, no.
Did Chief Berkowitz disclose to you that morning on February 4th that he had been communicating with Brian Higgins and Brian Albert, two witnesses, on your case that morning?
Objection.
Sustained.
If you knew information about communication between and among Canton PD and your witnesses, you would find that inappropriate, would you not?
Objection.
Sustained.
You returned to the scene on February 10th, is that right? To conduct another search, you say.
I was present on the 10th, yes.
Who dispatched you back to, or did anybody dispatch you back to that location on February 10th? How did you end up there is a better way to ask it.
February 10th, just like previous days, we made plans to go to the location in the morning, in the afternoon, drive by. I was on my way to work and to home. So I traveled that route on purpose. And as evidence revealed itself due to the natural melting of the snow, we would stop and collect the visible evidence.
You believed at this point, sir, that whatever you might collect at the scene would obviously be important, correct?
anything we collected that had evidentiary value or presented itself as somehow related to the crime or the incident would be collected.
And it would be important to the investigation.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call the planting of evidence.
Right? You treat it as important.
It is important, yes.
So my question is, was, especially as it relates to the February 10th search, where there were multiple items found, did you seek to have CSSS come out and actually either mark with GPS coordinates or measure with cross coordinates exactly where each item of evidence was found?
We did not do that. We had collected so much evidence already, and so much has been documented at that point, that we did not contact crime scene services to come back out and photograph more shards of glass and plastic. We simply collected it for processing.
So the location of each one of those items was not of that great importance to you, at least at that time?
It was of great importance as to the fact that it was located in the vicinity where the victim was found and in the vicinity of other items located of the same characteristic, shape, size, and color.
So that's my question, Sergeant. What does vicinity mean?
In the area,
Okay, what does area mean?
it's a location, specific location.
Okay, are we talking about, if we do this all day, I guess, are we talking about an area of 5 feet or an area of 50 feet?
Based on where the items were recovered, we're talking about an area approximately of 30 square feet between the roadway into the grass. It's the
We saw photographs, Sergeant, of items that were butted up against a fire hydrant in one instance, correct? Is that yes?
That's correct, yes.
A drinking straw that's out in the road, correct?
That's correct.
Another shard of glass that's in the grass, closer to
correct.
the flagpole, correct?
Correct.
A hat that's under the snow adjacent to the left side of the flagpole, correct? I'm sorry, it wasn't. It was closer to the electrical box, wasn't it?
No, the pictures documented where the hat was. It was to the right of the flagpole.
So these shards of glass, the point I'm asking is, did you seek to use basic cross coordinates, measurements from something that you know is a known object, like for instance, I don't know, a flagpole or a fire hydrant? 27 inches to the north and 1.5 feet to the south of those two known points, that would give you a cross coordinate, correct?
It would document the exact location, correct?
And you did not do that with any of these items, correct?
The items that were not photographed were not also GPS located, but they were within the same vicinity of where the other items were collected.
But again, now we're back to the same question. Your word for vicinity might be different than my word.
Sound like some bullshit, right? Sounds like bullshit. Now you may begin to understand it's starting to be revealed as to why I would nickname this individual Trooper Bullshit Bukhenik. Okay, Trooper Bullshit Bukhenik. And this is only the start of the bullshit. So put your seatbelts on. We're entering down a path of bullshit that has engendered the name Bullshit Bukhenik.
Right?
Objection.
Sustain.
When you recover these items, or any other items, it's obviously important to memorialize on the evidence bag or in some other way exactly where they're found, who found them, the date, time, etc. Correct?
We do the best we can to document all known information on each evidence item bagged at the time.
And in terms of the February 10th search, I want to just ask you a couple of quick questions about that evidence bag. Did you bag the the items into a single evidence bag that you found that day, or do you recall?
I would have to see the bag. If you have those available, I'll take a look. I can answer
With
that.
the court's permission, exhibit, I think it's 310 that was entered into evidence yesterday. I'd like to display that for us.
Okay.
You're looking at a photograph of what was previously entered into evidence as 310. Can you see that from where you're at? I don't have the evidence bag with me, so if you don't, I can certainly ask the space to enlarge it.
If you can enlarge it, please.
Just a portion of the right. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I didn't realize I've got a photograph of it.
Do you need the lights on, Sergeant?
Please.
There you go.
Thank you.
Should make it easier. Sergeant, have you been able to familiarize yourself with that evidence bag?
With the photograph, yes.
Okay, thank you. Taking a look at that evidence bag, it has the information on it, has your name is collected by, correct?
Correct.
The date of collection is February 10th, is that right?
That's what it says, yes.
Okay. And it indicates multiple pieces of red, black, and clear plastic, right? It actually says 6 pieces of red, black, and clear plastic, correct?
That's correct.
But that is not an evidence bag that was filled out by you. Is it?
I did not fill that bag out, no.
As a matter of fact, that's Trooper Proctor's handwriting.
I do not know what Trooper Proctor's handwriting is. I cannot confirm that that's his handwriting.
But it's not your handwriting.
It is not my handwriting, no.
So are you aware that this particular bag, that bag that contained those 6 items of plastic material that you already deemed was incredibly important to the investigation, was never booked into any evidence until March 14th, the date that it was submitted to the crime lab?
I was not aware of that, no.
We can take that down, Mr. Bates. If I may approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you, Sergeant.
You're welcome.
Did you ever draft a report yourself documenting the recovery of those 6 items and the other 14 items that you said that you found on the same date, February 10th?
I did not, no.
Did you leave that assuming that Trooper Proctor would document that?
Objection.
Sustained. Ask it differently.
I'll ask it another way if I can. Did you believe that you didn't need to write a report, Sergeant, because Trooper Proctor would take care of that?
I knew that it would be documented. It was already documented on the actual bag as far as who collected it, when, where, what it was, and a report eventually would be authored on it.
But the where, for all these very intricate pieces, the where is left to 34 Fairview on that, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Is that right?
The general vicinity location of the other items collected and documented with photographs was consistent with the same locations this was collected.
Sounds like bullshit, Bukhenik. Sounds like bullshit.
I want to shift gears for just a second. Well, actually, I want to ask one final question about that item. Based on the documentation that you just mentioned, that it's documented on the bag, and if the bag is presented to the crime lab on on March 14th, some 5 weeks later, those items were completely unaccounted for from a log standpoint for the entire time from when they were collected until they were booked at the crime lab, correct?
Objection.
Sustained. Ask it differently.
Possession of those items of those 4, 5, 6 weeks?
Are you talking about the items that were just displayed on the screen?
I am, sir.
I did not.
Now I'd like to shift gears to a ring video that you saw yesterday. It's in Exhibit 6, video number 153. That may mean nothing to you. It's the 5:07 a.m. video of Miss Reed's car pulling out of the One Meadows garage. Do you remember that video?
I do.
Okay. You indicated yesterday on questioning, under questioning by Mr. Lally, that Miss Reed's car came in contact with or close to coming in contact with the other vehicle, the Traverse, in the video. Is that right?
The video, as I watched the video, I observed the vehicle come near Mr. O'Keefe's car.
Okay, that's what I want to talk about. With the court's permission, may we play that video?
What do we have here? A Marine Corps sticker? Is that what that is?
One more time.
Okay.
Bates, if you can pull that up, and then I'm going to ask you to pause it and get out of the way. Okay? Okay, can you just play that for a quick second, and then I'll ask you to pause it. Pause. Does that appear to be, I'm just pausing it in the first 2 or 3 seconds, does that appear to be the video that you saw yesterday?
It appears that way, yes.
Okay. Mr. Bates, if you could enlarge the area around the the left rear tire of the Traverse. I'm going to ask you, sir, if you'll pay close attention to what's been zoomed, and when the SUV gets close to it, I'm going to pause it and ask you another question. Can you go ahead and play this?
Your Honor, I want to object to this.
So why don't we pause the screen, take it down, and I'll see you at sidebar.
Oh, you have a little lull. Have a little lull here. Have a little lull. She's looking bad. She's looking tired. She's not looking too good. She's not looking too good.
If we can have the lights dimmed, Your Honor.
Sure.
Go ahead and enlarge the rear area of the Traverse.
What's up, Carol?
And I'm going to ask you to pay special attention to that wheel and any movement that you may or may not see. Okay, pause it. about the next 3 seconds, Sergeant, I'm asking you to pay special attention to the wheel. Go ahead.
See, she hits the car. See that?
What does
See
that
the
look
tire
like?
move?
And you can take that down. Sergeant, were you able to see that video? I know it's not the clearest thing in the world, but were you able to see that video okay?
Yes, I
What did
did.
you notice about the rear wheel of the Traverse?
Based on the motion in the shot with the snow falling, it appears that there is movement, but the video speaks for itself.
What would you assess
She hit the
based
car.
on the movement of the rear wheel of the Traverse about whether or not the two vehicles came in contact with one another?
Objection.
Sustained.
Okay. May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
She impacted that vehicle right at the tail light. It's pretty clear.
May I inquire?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm trying to use my time wisely, Your Honor. Yesterday, Sergeant, you were asked about a couple of videos related to the Sallyport garage. Do you have that in mind?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we watched one of them pretty specifically toward the end of the day yesterday. Did you actually, I want to talk about the one that is the clearer of the two, where you slip. You remember that one?
If you pull it up, I can.
I will in just a second.
Okay.
There was one where Mr. Lally paused it and you were slipping in front of the vehicle.
I don't recall myself slipping, no, but it was icy that day. So if there's documentation of me slipping, I might have happened.
Fair enough. I didn't mean anything by that other than that was a moment that I thought you might recall to differentiate the videos. It's Exhibit 446, but I don't think that's going to help you. All right, let's see if I can do this another way. Did you actually personally go to Canton, Canton PD, to retrieve any or all of the videos of the Sallyport? You yourself?
I did go to Canton and collect already extracted video,
Okay.
but it was a portion of video surveillance. I didn't collect all of the video, so
When was the most recent time that you went to Canton to collect a portion of the video?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Did you review well, let me ask it this way. Did you collect the video that was sought on or about April 23rd, April 24th this year, meaning just a few weeks ago?
Did I collect it?
Correct.
I did not collect that video of April this year, no.
You're aware that the video that you saw yesterday was in fact collected after the trial started in April of 2024?
Objection.
Sustained.
Are you aware of when that video that we saw yesterday was collected?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
I am not aware.
Okay. Was yesterday the first time you'd seen that video?
No,
When had you seen that video previously?
a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. What were the circumstances in which you saw that video?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you have a meeting with the DA?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you ever have any kind of communication with Mr. Lally about your testimony?
Objection.
Sustained.
May we approach?
Yes.
Another lull. We got another lull. What's up, Scott? Welcome in, Scott. We are just watching this shit show. Hi, everyone. I've seen less likable witnesses than this guy, but I can't remember when. Oh, well, you must have missed the Jim McCabe. You must have missed old Jim McCabe. She was horrible. She was horrible. But this guy is I affectionately call him Bullshit Bukhenik, and he's he is
You are unmuted.
May I?
Yes.
Thank
wait till you see the
So,
garage
did you
video.
have any meetings or communications with Mr. Lally in anticipation of your testimony?
Yes.
When was that?
It was about 2 weeks ago, and then last week, I believe.
And what was discussed? Generally.
Generally, we discussed the portions of the case that I would be presenting.
Did you write a report about your communications with Mr. Lally?
No, I did not.
Were you shown any of the videos that you've seen here in anticipation of your testimony?
Not during the first meeting. I did review a video during the second time.
Okay, and that video was that you did see the second time was the interior video of the Sally Port that we saw yesterday, correct?
I'm just trying to remember exactly what video I saw. I had reviewed videos outside of our meeting, so I don't remember exactly what video Mr. Lally showed me.
But you do recall seeing the video that you saw yesterday, the sort of clear one that has the crime scene tape being put up and all that. You have seen that one before,
Yes,
and that was with Mr. Lally, correct?
that is not correct because I do not recall when I saw that video or what video I saw with Mr. Lally.
I see. All right. I'd like to talk about that Exhibit 446 for a second, and then I'll show it to you. You indicated that the video all the videos, everything that you saw yesterday was true and accurate, correct? Based on your memory of the events that were memorialized in the video?
Okay.
The video.
Oh, shit. Oh, I just lost my place. But listen, while I find my place, this defense here is so good. They always build up to a crescendo. And once again, with this witness, he's built up to this crescendo, and now he's going to drop the bomb. Because I want you to see the deception that these people tried to pull off, okay? So watch. I want you to, we're going to try to find the spot, and I accidentally clicked on the wrong thing, and I lost the spot, but we have to focus on, again, it's time to focus. We're going to see a video that was presented yesterday by the prosecution, and you are going to learn now at this crescendo on this cross-examination that it was all tampered with, manipulated, deceptive, and part of the cover-up. So let's do this. Let me find the spot because I messed up. Please forgive me, ladies and gentlemen. I was messing around with my finger, just skipped a beat here. So let's see. All right, so we're past that. Okay. Let's see. We're past that. Let's see.
I was asked if at any point Trooper Proctor and I had came into.
Doesn't he look like a liar? Just a question. Look at him. Doesn't he look like he's lying right there? He's lying. He's lying. Just like Jim McCabe, he's a horrible witness. But let's see if I can.
Did you write a report about your communications with Mr. Lally?
No.
Oh man, I messed up.
Was yesterday.
Okay, let's see.
Pretty specific.
Oh man, I don't know where we were. Kind of like,
Playing it.
oh, okay, we're close now. Okay, 35.
I was asked if at any point Trooper Proctor and I had came into contact, I believe, and or touched the vehicle. And
Okay, let me back it up just a second so we get some context. Right here, we're going to be getting into this video, and you're going to be surprised at the level of deception that this prosecution and law enforcement has gone to. Okay.
Clear one that has the crime scene tape being put up and all that. You have seen that one before,
yes,
and that was with Mr. Lally, correct?
that is not correct because I do not recall when I saw that video or what video I saw with Mr. Lally.
I see. All right. I'd like to talk about that exhibit 446 for a second, and then I'll show it to you. You indicated that the video all the videos, everything that you saw yesterday was true and accurate, correct? Based on your memory of the events that were memorialized in the video?
The video captures events taking place in accurate fashion, yes.
In an accurate fashion. All right, that's what I wanted to find out. And after you watched the video, I think you were asked by Mr. Lally, does the video show you or Trooper Proctor having access to or messing with in any way that right rear tail light in any fashion? And you said never.
I was asked if at any point Trooper Proctor and I had came into contact, I believe, and or touched the vehicle and that portion of the vehicle, and I said never. We never touched the vehicle prior to it being properly processed with a search warrant.
And that was specifically his question was to, and your answer was to the right rear portion of the vehicle, right? That right rear tail light.
The right rear damaged taillight, correct.
With the court's permission, I'd like to play a portion of Exhibit 446.
Okay.
Before we begin playing it, Mr. Bates, if you wouldn't mind, may I inquire, Your Honor, of the witness, just to lay a foundation?
Okay.
Sergeant,
All right. So everyone in the chat, pay attention, pay attention. I know there's stimulating conversation, but check it out here, okay? Now, this is a case where you cannot let your eyes deceive you because details matter, okay? And this police department and the prosecution thought that details would not matter in this court of law. So pay attention here. I'm going to remove Scott's comment. I'm going to remove my face so that you can actually focus in on this next few minutes, because this is very important when it comes to the Karen Reed case. So here we go. Let her rip.
you recognize this as being the video that we saw yesterday?
It does look accurate.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page. This is 446, just so you have it in mind if I reference that. Space, if you could play that. And I think it's runtime 120. Pause it. Do you recognize that as the video we saw yesterday?
Yes, I do.
Very briefly, if you could move to time of day, 5:37:05.
Okay, so basically what they're showing you is they're going to show you the vehicle being pulled in, but pay very close attention.
Yes. With the court's permission, can we play at this point?
Yes.
All right, that shows the vehicle coming into the Sally Port, and we're looking at which side of the vehicle?
So that is the driver's side of the vehicle. What that video depicts is a mirror collection. Although mirrors are accurate representation of what you're seeing, it's just inverted. So that is the driver's side of the vehicle. I do not know why it is inverted, but that's the way it was presented, collected and presented from Canton Police.
Can you see a timestamp or a time and date stamp on the bottom of that? It's in blue.
I cannot know.
Okay. Does it appear that time and date stamp, if you can't read every letter on it, that is in correct order? In other words, that's not inverted.
I cannot read it, no.
All right, let's go ahead and play this for a second. Who is that just got out of the car?
I do not know. I think that's the tow truck driver. He would have the only access to the vehicle.
Okay.
We did not touch the vehicle.
Who's that on the left?
I missed that. I was looking down at the laser pointer. I do not know. I know for a fact I'm the gentleman that's wearing a dark olive drab state police baseball style hat, and Trooper Mike Proctor is wearing a winter hat.
Trooper Proctor's wearing what?
A winter hat.
Back that up. That was playing, and I didn't realize it was playing while you were talking. Stop. A little bit further back. And stop. Yesterday, when you testified, you indicated that the two individuals in this scene were you and Trooper Proctor, correct?
Not correct. There was two individuals in the rear of the vehicle. I shined my light to. That was me and Trooper Proctor.
Do you see Trooper Proctor toward the back of the rear of the vehicle there?
I can't tell because of what the head is. I just know that Trooper Proctor was wearing a black hat.
Which the person in that, in the video to the left, to the rear of the car is wearing a black hat, correct?
I can't tell. I don't want to be locked into a statement where later on you show me that it's somebody else magically. I can't testify to that.
There's no magic about this. It's your testimony. I'm just asking you what you see.
I don't see that. No.
Let's go ahead and play at this point. Do you see the person toward the back of the vehicle walking toward the opposite side of the SUV?
I do.
What area does he appear to be going to?
He appears to be going towards the rear passenger side of the vehicle, although it does not appear so because the video is inverted, a mirror image. That's where he's going.
And Sergeant Bukhenik, you testified for at least a half an hour about this video yesterday, correct?
I'm sorry, it was a long day. I don't know the timing of how long I testified.
You significantly testified about this video yesterday, did you not?
I testified about this video.
And you testified that it was true and accurate, correct?
Correct.
And you testified that it was reflective of your observations of what was happening in that Sally Port that evening, correct?
I testified that this is a accurate scene and collection of video evidence from the Sally Port.
And as that truck sits in that Sally Port, just like this, it appears from all perspectives that what we're looking at is the passenger side of the car, and that right rear taillight is right there shining in our face, correct? From this perspective.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
From this perspective, from the perspective that the jurors are looking at,
Okay.
from all indications, that would appear to be the right side of the truck, the passenger side of the truck, and that taillight that you can see is the right rear taillight, from this perspective, correct?
The way it presents itself, yes.
And yesterday, during the entirety of your questioning by Mr. Lally, not once did you mention that this video is actually completely inverted,
I
correct?
did not know.
Mr. Lally didn't ask you if it was inverted, correct?
That's correct.
And if I hadn't gotten up here and begun questioning you, that would be left uncorrected, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
The person with the winter cap appears to walk directly to the questioning by Mr. Lally. Not once did you mention that this video is actually completely inverted,
I
correct?
did not know.
Mr. Lally didn't ask you if it was inverted, correct?
That's correct.
And if I hadn't gotten up here and begun questioning you, that would be left uncorrected, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
The person with the winter cap appears to walk directly to the what ultimately should be the right rear taillight of this car, correct?
That's the vicinity, yes. That's where he is. Yeah.
Sort of like this. Pause it. I'd like you to pay attention to the right rear of this car. And I know we're completely backward, but it's the far corner of the car. Do you see a person's head there?
It appears as if someone's still there.
And that person is located at or near what portion of the car?
In real life or as it's depicted?
Is the person near in real life, near the right rear taillight of the car?
Yes.
Matter of fact, standing there hovering around it, correct?
We don't know the distance that they are in proximity to the actual vehicle. We just know that they're behind the vehicle. That
Looks like it's pretty close, doesn't it, Sergeant?
Objection.
Sustained.
Does that look like he's in close proximity to the right rear taillight?
as I said, I can't tell how far away he is from the vehicle.
His head's right there, sir. You can't tell that he's right next to the right rear taillight?
Objection.
Sustained.
All right. I want you to pay attention to what that person does as soon as the other person comes out from behind that car. See if you see him moving. Stop it. Do you see that person move?
I saw movement in the frame, yes.
Right when the other person is in eyesight of the person toward the right rear, correct?
I mean, the video speaks for itself.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Objection, Your Honor.
The objection sustained. No commenting, Mr. Jackson. We've talked about that.
I'm going to ask Mr. Bates to back it up because there's one other issue I want you to pay attention to, if you can, right at this moment or right before this moment, and that is the timestamp. We back it up in maybe 10 seconds. Right about there. Don't play it yet. Instead of paying attention to the individuals, I'm going to ask you, can you see, may I approach the screen, Your Honor?
Yes.
Can you see the timestamp at 5:37 and 37 seconds p.m.? Can you see that from where you're at?
No, I cannot.
Me neither. That's why I don't walk up to it. Let's play it for about 10 seconds. Pause it. Did you see another person just appear toward the rear end of the car?
There was a fog of some sorts. It did appear as if a person was actually in. There was two people back there, and two people walked away, or one person walked away.
The timestamp jumped to 5:38:01. Correct?
I cannot see the timestamp, sir.
Did it appear that there was an anomaly? There was a portion of that video that was deleted, or it's missing, not deleted, but just missing.
Objection.
Can you tell that? Does it appear that way to you, Sergeant?
No, Your Honor, I cannot tell what is happening with the video.
If you take a close look at there's a classic police car in that Sally Port, correct?
There's an antique vehicle there, yes, yes.
If you take a close look at the trunk of that vehicle, you see the word police?
Yes, I believe I can read that, yes.
And it's backward, correct?
It is mirrored, correct.
That's a good indication that this is an inverted video, right?
It appears that way, yes.
And if we were to fast forward at 5:42, not another 20 seconds. There you go. Can we just play it at this point? No. You get when you pause it. Pause it. You see the Sallyport garage came down?
Yes,
You see a number on the garage?
I do.
Is that correct?
What is correct?
Does the number appear correct? How do you make it 4?
No, the number's in the mirror image, yes.
I just wanted to make the point. Everything in this video is completely backward, correct?
It's not backwards, it's mirrored, reversed. You can look yourself in the mirror in the morning, you still see your own face. It's not backwards.
But my mirror image is not an accurate depiction of who I am. My
Jack.
actual physical appearance is who I am, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
A mirror image, Sergeant, is not an accurate video of this, is it?
Objection.
It's a mirror image by definition.
Sustained. Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Your Honor, thank you. I don't think I need to. I would like to mark I have a, we can bring the lights up.
Let's wait.
All right, so they're having some sirens, and he's kind of beat that dead horse, but you're dealing with a tampered, inverted video with a proper timestamp overlaid, and there's a portion cut out right after the lead investigator was malingering around the area of the broken taillight.
I have a thumb drive that I'd like to have marked with the court's permission.
Okay. Does Mr. Lally know what's on this thumb drive without you telling us?
I do not.
Okay.
We can approach and I can certainly bring it up.
We're trying to wrap up our morning.
It's,
It's marked for identification.
if I may, Your Honor, I'd like to play the first 10 seconds of that video.
No. We'll come to sidebar. It's marked for identification, right, Mr. Jackson?
You are
Okay, sorry about that. There's a little sidebar. So what did they cut out of the video? Why did they mislead the jury in the day before, having the jury think that that was the opposite side of the vehicle? Anyway, this woman here looks pretty damn tired. She doesn't look like she looked a week or two ago. But why would they have had this video misrepresent what happened in that garage? This is before the broken pieces of the tail light were found the next morning or later that morning by a passerby, law enforcement. This provided ample opportunity for pieces of that tail light to be taken off of the vehicle, removed from the garage, brought over to the scene, and planted to be discovered the next morning or later that morning. The timestamp is very, very tiny, Lisa. No, I'm sorry, Lisa. Very tiny. You can't hardly see it. But it's there. All right. But it appears to me that something happened in that garage, and I think what may have happened is that Proctor himself went and broke some pieces off. Okay, because think of it. If she backed into the vehicle just prior, if she had just backed into the vehicle, cracked that tail light, a cracked tail light would be easy to break off additional pieces to go dispense at the place where the body was found. Remember, the body had already been removed. Crime scene had already processed the area. And the excuse being used is that the snow had melted more by the time daylight came, and that another officer just happens to find some broken pieces that somehow crime scene had missed. None of it makes sense, and it all stinks, and it all smells like she cracked the tail light by backing into a vehicle, which you just saw happen 30 minutes ago. When her vehicle was brought into the garage, one of the investigators broke off pieces of it, additional pieces of it, went and planted it at the crime scene to be discovered immediately. It's my opinion. And if that's not what factually happened, it certainly is the appearance. There's the reasonable doubt established by the fact that that appears to be what could have happened or may have happened. And so I think with that alone, you have reasonable doubt. Why is a portion of that video cut out? Is that a damning portion? Do you actually see him maybe break a piece? I wish this sidebar would finish because I'm ready to shut it down. I'm tired, but we're almost there. We're almost there. This is about it. It's bad. It's bad. This is a bad situation. And once again, you will have people say that there's never a bad cop. There's never planting of evidence on a suspect. There's never a setup. There's never a conspiracy. There's never a collusion behind the scenes to protect your brethren. This is what they'll have you believe. Some people will say, oh no, look, they're going after the cops again. Okay? Because that's what they'll say about Delphi. But look at Delphi. Missing evidence, questionable evidence that appears to there gives the appearance that it may have been planted, and I'm talking about the bullet. Okay. Chain of custody, unsure. Crime scene had been released. All kind of anomalies in that. Days upon weeks upon months of missing evidence in terms of interviews, crucial for the defense of any defendant. It's bad. It's basically like in the attempt to set up an individual or to railroad an individual or to stack the deck against an individual, you overplay your hand and you self-defeat, providing reasonable doubt for the defendant. And I think in this woman's case, that's what you got.
You are unmuted.
Bukhenik, we're gonna have you come back on Monday.
Oh, here we go. We're back.
Jurors, I know that you want to know when this case is going to end, and I don't mean that in any negative way. After speaking with the lawyers, I can safely say that you will get this case for your deliberations sometime the last week in June. We'll know better next week. We will not be in session next Tuesday. We will go full days, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. We will not be in session next Tuesday. All right, I have to give you those cautions again. Please do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into this case. If you happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case, please disregard it and let us know. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.
All rise for the jury, please. Jurors.
You are muted.
Don't follow me.
Okay, and that's going to be it for this. So let's get this out of here, and we'll close it out. All right. So everyone, thank you so much for being here. You say I think the difference is these guys had a few days to think about and do some things, but all they were trying to do is conceal one crime. Exactly. Scott says I'm new here, relatively. This is the nicest group of great people in any chat I've been around, and thank you all for the hospitality, kindness, and extraordinarily polite interactions. Well, we know how to act here. All right, so Nancy Drew says, Scott, you're right. Everyone here is so nice. Okay. Just look it up. It's unbelievable. Look up all the plants by officers. It's in the thousands in many states, meaning more than 18 states in America. Isn't there a 3-second snippet of the video completely missing where they spliced it? In Delphi, there were more layers, and in my opinion, the original cover-up, then Ellie cover-up of Ellie mistakes, and also need to conceal multiple tangential crimes, and then the word came down to wrap it all up. So complex, more complex by orders of magnitude. Oh yes, I mean there's no comparison, but there are similarities, which is why I'm showing you this case. In my opinion, there are similarities, and I'm trying to crack the minds open of extremely stubborn people who want to believe that we are living in fantasy world. Everything is perfect. Police never do any wrong. Prosecutors never do any wrong. Judges never do any wrong. The criminal justice system of America is perfect, and nothing bad ever happens, and there are no innocent people in jail. And for that, I want to show you examples of obvious miscarriages of justice. But I believe that reasonable doubt has been well established by this excellent defense in Karen Reed's case, and Who knows what we're going to see in Delphi? Who knows? Nancy says, you're right, everyone is nice and kind. So anyway, guys, thank you for sticking around for this laborious look at this cross-examination of Trooper Bullshit Bukhenik. And I don't know, it's leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I mean, he's trying to walk a fine line, cover his own ass. So giving only what's absolutely necessary at a bare minimum. Anyhow, I like this theme, cases with similarities. I have wanted to do this. This is what we're looking at this here. Karen Reed. It's a microcosm in some way, I guess. Just showing you what happens. And this is happening in real time. This was from today. So anyway, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for the Friday night party. So you guys get rested up. You guys get rested up. Yeah, I hope to see you tomorrow. ACB says, cases involving CIs gone wild like Whitney Bulger would be great. Well, I believe in Delphi you got CIs, and I believe you also got lying ass witnesses, just like in the Karen Reed case, lying ass witnesses. So you guys take care. Hey, Bobby, thank you for coming in late. Appreciate you being here. And everyone who was here, and even the viewers who did not join the chat, thank you for being here. Right. Please hit the like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you haven't already. And we'll see you another time. Okay? God bless. Hug your kids, hug your wife, all that good stuff. Good night.